The airport flashbulbs have barely faded from recent BTS headlines, yet another thunderclap has just hit the K-pop world. Jin is officially stepping back into the solo spotlight with a brand new album titled Echo, slated for release in May 2026, an announcement that instantly sent fans into speculation mode and reignited global anticipation around his evolving artistry. Unveiled through an official statement from Big Hit Music, the news frames Echo as Jin's second major solo chapter, following the warm reception of his debut project and signaling a confident next step in his post-military creative era. The album's title alone has already sparked discussion across social platforms, with listeners interpreting Echo as a metaphor for memory, emotional aftershocks, and the lingering resonance of personal experiences, territory that Jin has often hinted he wants to explore more deeply in his songwriting. What makes the timing particularly electric is how this solo reveal lands amid heightened attention on BTS as a whole. With fans closely tracking group activities, reunions, and international schedules, Jin's announcement feels less like a quiet side project and more like a headline-grabbing statement of independence within the group's broader narrative. Industry watchers are already predicting that Echo could showcase a wider sonic palette than before, potentially blending his signature emotive ballads with new textures, collaborations, or even genre experiments that reflect his growth during the group's staggered solo era. Early promotional hints promise a carefully paced rollout, with teasers, concept photos, and behind-the-scenes content expected to drop in the months leading up to May. That slow burn strategy has become a hallmark of modern K-pop campaigns, but with Jin's massive global following, each reveal is likely to dominate timelines and trend charts within minutes. Fans are also buzzing about the possibility of live performances and special stages tied to the album, imagining how the new material might translate to arenas or festival settings once release week arrives. Beyond charts and numbers, Echo is being framed as a more personal artistic statement, a chance for Jin to step forward, not just as a member of a world-conquering group, but as a solo storyteller refining his own voice. As May 2026 inches closer, the question isn't whether the album will make noise, but how far those echoes will travel across the industry, the fandom, and the next chapter of his career. As anticipation continues to swell, analysts note that Jin appears poised to redefine expectations for a second solo release in the hyper-competitive K-pop landscape. While debut albums often introduce an artist's personal color, follow-ups are where identity hardens, and Echo is already being positioned as that defining moment. Insiders familiar with the project suggest that the singer has taken a more hands-on role in shaping the album's emotional direction, working closely with producers to craft songs that feel less like experiments and more like declarations of who he is now, musically and personally. The ripple effect is being felt far beyond Korea. International media outlets have begun slotting the May 2026 release into broader industry forecasts, speculating about first-week sales, streaming milestones, and chart performances that could rival major Western pop acts. That level of scrutiny reflects not just Jin's individual popularity, but the enormous gravitational pull of BTS, whose members' solo projects have repeatedly rewritten benchmarks for global reach. For many observers, Echo isn't merely another comeback, it's a test of how far a single member of the group can stretch his wings while still carrying the collective legacy. Behind the scenes, Big Hit Music is reportedly preparing an expansive promotional campaign designed to keep momentum building over several months. Concept films, cryptic teaser posters, and interactive fan content are expected to drop in waves, gradually revealing the album's visual identity and emotional core. Every fragment released is likely to fuel theory crafting communities online, where fans dissect color palettes, lyric snippets, and symbolism for clues about the record's themes, turning the wait itself into a global event. Perhaps most compelling is how Echo may reshape Jin's public image. Known for his warmth, humor, and soaring vocal lines, he has often balanced lighthearted charm with moments of striking sincerity. This new project is widely rumored to lean deeper into reflective territory, exploring adulthood, fame, distance, and the quiet aftershocks of life in the spotlight. If those hints prove true, the album could resonate not only with longtime fans, but with listeners discovering him through this more mature, introspective lens. With months still to go before release day, the atmosphere around Echo feels less like a routine comeback cycle and more like the slow build toward a cultural moment. Each teaser, each interview, and each rumor adds another layer to the narrative, amplifying curiosity about what Jin will ultimately unveil. By the time May 2026 arrives, the world might find itself listening not just for catchy hooks or chart-topping singles, but for the deeper reverberations of an artist stepping confidently into the next phase of his career, and seeing just how far those echoes can travel. Industry chatter is also beginning to swirl around what could follow the album's release, with many wondering whether Jin might accompany Echo with an intimate showcase series or a limited international tour designed to bring the new material directly to fans. Such events have become increasingly central to K-pop rollouts, offering not only live performances, but also storytelling moments where artists explain the personal experiences behind each track. Executives at HYBE, the parent company overseeing his label, are known for crafting long-term global strategies, and observers believe Echo could be positioned as a centerpiece of their 2026 slate. What truly keeps fans glued to every update, however, is the sense that this album represents more than a routine career checkpoint. Jin has often spoken about growth, time, and the importance of staying grounded despite worldwide fame, and supporters suspect those philosophies may form the emotional backbone of the project. Online communities are already brimming with theories about lyrical motifs, mirrors, distance, memory, renewal, each speculation fueling countdown posts and viral discussion threads that stretch across languages and continents. There is also a broader cultural context at play. As BTS gradually transitions back toward fuller group activities in the coming years, solo projects like Echo are being read as chapters in a much larger story, one in which each member sharpens an individual identity while reinforcing the group's collective legacy. For Jin, whose vocal color and personality have long been central to BTS's appeal, the second solo album feels poised to underline just how far he has come and hint at where he might go next when the group reconvenes on the world stage. With promotional timelines still unfolding and concrete musical details carefully guarded, the sense of mystery only heightens the spectacle. Every official photo drop, cryptic caption, or producer credit revelation is likely to spark headlines and trending topics, transforming the slow march toward May 2026 into a serialized drama for the global fandom. In an industry driven by momentum and myth-making, Echo is shaping up to be both a carefully engineered campaign and a deeply personal statement waiting to be heard. By the time release day finally arrives, the conversation may have shifted from predictions to impact, how the songs land, which tracks dominate charts, and which lyrics linger longest in listeners' minds. For now, the announcement alone has achieved its goal, setting the stage for months of speculation and excitement. If early buzz is any indication, Jin's next chapter will not fade quietly into the background. It will reverberate, building in volume until those echoes are impossible to ignore. Momentum around the project shows no signs of slowing, and with each passing week, the name Jin continues to dominate entertainment headlines in anticipation of Echo. Observers within the music industry have begun framing the release as one of the most closely watched solo comebacks of the decade, pointing to how every move connected to him instantly ricochets through streaming platforms, fan communities, and global media cycles. The careful silence surrounding track details has only intensified curiosity, transforming the album into a kind of mystery box, whose contents are being imagined long before the lid is lifted. Part of that fascination stems from Jin's unique position inside BTS, a vocalist known for emotional clarity and understated strength rather than bombastic reinvention. That reputation has led many to speculate that Echo could lean heavily into storytelling, drawing from quieter, more reflective moments rather than headline-grabbing spectacle alone. If his debut project introduced listeners to his solo identity, this follow-up is increasingly being discussed as the moment where that identity crystallizes, revealing a mature artist willing to linger on unresolved feelings and the long reverberations of personal change. International markets are already bracing for impact. Retailers and streaming platforms are expected to prepare for record-breaking pre-orders once physical editions and special packages are unveiled, while analysts predict the album could dominate multiple charts simultaneously upon release. In recent years, BTS members' individual projects have repeatedly demonstrated how fandom loyalty can translate into global commercial force, and Echo is shaping up to test just how far that reach extends when anticipation has been building for months in advance. What elevates the narrative beyond numbers, though, is the emotional arc fans believe Jin is constructing. The very idea of echoes suggests sounds that linger after the source is gone, memories that refuse to fade, words that continue to resonate long after they are spoken. Supporters online have latched onto that imagery, weaving theories about love, distance, time, and self-reflection into sprawling discussion threads that double as countdown clocks to May 2026. In doing so, they have turned the waiting period itself into part of the experience, a collective meditation on what this next chapter might hold. As the calendar inches closer to release day, the sense grows that Echo is less a single event than a slow-burn cultural moment, unfolding across teasers, interviews, and whispered industry leaks. Whether it ultimately arrives as a sweeping emotional statement, a genre-stretching experiment, or a carefully balanced blend of both, one thing already feels certain: Jin's second solo era is being built not for a quiet debut, but for maximum resonance, designed to ripple outward from devoted fans to casual listeners and eventually to the wider pop conversation itself.